The voice of sharing. Durian ASEAN.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, Arlene. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm fine.
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah.
You don't look very well today.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, how's the weather today? It's a bit gloomy, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was about to rain this morning, but thankfully it didn't because I was walking to work, as you know.
I see. So let's just start our morning news commentary today on ASEAN Breakfast Call. The first ASEAN news today is actually from Malaysia. So it's reported by The Sun. Prime Minister Najib said that legal action not meant to silence critics. So the story goes is the legal actions against an online news portal is not part of any crackdown to silence critical voices, but an appropriate recourse for defamation, told by our Prime Minister Datuk Sri Najib Abdul Razak. In fact, Najib had reportedly issued a legal notice to news portal Malaysia Kini in his personal capacity and jointly with UMNO over the publication of its readers' comments with regards to his handlings of the political impasse in Terengganu.
Yeah, he said it is a matter of acting on specific accusations which cross the line from fair comment into slander. It is my legal team's opinion that recent allegations by an online news portal overstepped the line. They have therefore issued a legal notice, he said.
So, a letter was demanded, which was hand-delivered to the online portal on May 15.
Mm-hmm.
And the compilation of readers' comment in two Your Say articles published in May 14, namely a case of the PM titled and Reaping What He Sow, another title, and How Much Will Najib Spend to Keep Terengganu, the third title.
And these titles were deemed defamatory towards the Prime Minister.
It was, but at the same time, there's a debate whether it is, if the Prime Minister is taking a legal action against the newspaper, is it seen as to silence the freedom of expression in this country, or is it a way for the government to say that, hey, what you're reporting about us is not right, so we are trying to prove it via the law?
Yeah, I think that's an ongoing battle in our country, the freedom of expression, especially through the media, because it's pretty much controlled by the government, except all these online news portals, which are actually independent from the government, and they try to reveal what is usually not revealed in the mainstream news. So we don't know for sure if this is if what you call this legal action against Malaysia Kini is actually really about the defamatory, or maybe he feels threatened, or
and another thing we need to realize is, it's not something wrong to take legal actions to certain comments in the newspaper and all that, but I think the biggest issue here I see is our judiciary free? So even if the government take legal action, or even Malaysia Kini themselves take the legal action, but if the judiciary is not free, it's not something that can really uphold freedom of expression in this country.
And Malaysia Kini also said that Najib and UMNO demanded an unconditional apology from the news portal within 48 hours of the issuance of the letter of demand, as well as a retraction of the allegedly defamatory articles.
So we just have to wait and see. But this kind of taking legal courts for any news or write-ups online or in the newspaper is something that has been practiced quite frequently in Singapore. So I guess our government is following the footsteps of Singaporean government in that sense.
Moving on to our next news is let's go to Penang for a bit. It's about missed chances for BN PR in Bukit Gelugo. So yesterday, actually, I reported that Ram Karpal Singh has won the Penang Bukit Golugo by-elections.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they were all celebrating. But turns out that the number of voters who turned up for the elections were the lowest in the history.
Oh.
And a lot of people are saying that it could be because there was no BN candidate, which brings us to our news today,
I see.
which is the missed chances for BN PR in Bukit Golugo. So as the dust settles in Bukit Golugo, both Barisan Nasional and Pakatan Rakyat may look back on the contest and rue a string of missed opportunities. For the ruling coalition, a loss may have been just too much to bear, especially for MCA.
Yeah, I mean, if MCA had contested, it is stated, and lost, it would have meant the party losing twice in a row after being defeated in the Kajang by-election in March. But yet, the feeling at the grassroots is that MCA should have entered the ring in a bid to rejuvenate its members who are still reeling for the poor performance of the 13th general election.
I think although the loss was highly expected, a strong showing from BN to reduce DAP's majority or even just to create a sense of presence could have given it a little momentum for the upcoming Teluk Intan by-elections. So it's not right for them to just not contest at all because they could foresee that DAP was going to win.
I see. They could perhaps, they are trying to strategizing themselves.
Yeah, probably some hidden agenda going on there.
Yeah, I don't think they are giving it up. I don't think they are defeating, in themselves. I think what they see is they need to re-strategize themselves, see what is their strength and what is their weakness. And maybe the next by-election, if there is any, they could try to contest and see if they still are popular within the crowd.
But I would say that in Penang, it's probably going to be a little hard because I think everyone is happy with DAP being the current government, and I'm not sure if they want BN back, but I guess we don't know for sure. That's the general perception there, that DAP is doing very well, bringing about a lot of changes to Penang, but who knows, maybe some of them actually want BN to come back, or...
Well, in a two-party system, it depends. Now, probably it's the DAP time being, the government of the day. But at the same time, I think MCA should not feel defeated. They should re-strategize themselves. They should see what is the needs of the people of Penang. Especially if in this case, instead of, playing party politics and all that, they should re-strategize themselves, like focus on policy.
And at least give DAP a challenge just by contesting.
That's the beauty of a two-party system. It's not about personalities. It's not about political parties. It's about who brings the best bacon.
Yeah, it's about that healthy competition there, challenging each other so each can perform better than the other.
That's true. So, in Malaysia as well, about the story of Teo death consistent with homicide. It was told by a lawyer and reported by The Sun. Evidence supports a finding that DAP political aide Teo Beng Hook death was consistent with a homicide, as stated by the Court of Appeal.
His lawyer Gobin Singh Dio, who is representing Teo Meng Ki, who is the brother of Teo Beng Hock, submitted that there was credible evidence to show that there was a pre-fall injury to the neck region of Teo Beng Hock.
So the evidence up to this point would suggest that Beng Hock has no reason to want to remain at the office of the MACC, but was there because he was required so by the officers of the MACC. In fact, he submitted in the appeal before the lawyer submitted in the appeal before a 3-member panel, court judges chaired by Datuk Muhammad Arif Muhammad Yusof. Gobin said that the theories of the possibility of accidental death or suicide could not be sustained. And in this case, with the pre-injury being found, definitely I would agree the same thing as well.
Yeah, actually it's about time that they came up with this, because we know that it's been probably 3 or 4 years since this case happened, and we couldn't decide whether it was homicide or suicide, and the evidence was being tampered with, changes and lots of,
Yeah,
I would say, fishy business going on.
that's true. I mean, another evidence is Beng Hok has always led a very normal life. He has no psychological illness. In fact, he is due to marry at that time.
Yeah, his fiancée was pregnant, I think, with his baby.
So it shows that this is a definite. I mean, there's a definite possibility that this is a suicide case. This is a homicide case instead of a suicide. Sorry about that. But at the same time, I mean, just looking at the big picture, this is not just about Beng Hok, Teo Beng Hok himself. I think on the bigger picture, death in custody is something of a serious case in Malaysia.
Yeah, there have been a lot of occasions where death in custody has happened, even with the police. I think a few cases, though nothing was actually confirmed.
So I mean, if the lawyer managed to push for the evidence and show that he died during the custody, it can sort of prove a point that at least justice is served.
Right, because I remember the family members being very upset when the court ruled it as a suicide, and they were not happy. They actually set up their own committee to hire private investigators to do more research and find out what really happened. So if this new evidence could actually bring them the justice that they need, I think that would be a very good thing for his family and all his loved ones. And also, like you said, the bigger picture to also bring justice to the country and show us that the truth always wins eventually.
Yeah, definitely agree in that.
So moving on to Thailand now. Thai army chief to receive royal nod as junta head. So it seems that this temporary coup thing is actually turning to be something quite permanent, which is scary for the Thai people, because we know that they've been rescheduling their elections a lot. They've been trying so hard to turn the country back into a democratic country, and then now there's this
military coup coming in.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So the Thailand's coup leader will receive royal appointment on Monday as head of the military junta that overthrew the civilian government. So it seems like the military will stay there for quite some time with the appointment. I see it.
I think yesterday I also reported that U.S. is actually withholding their aid, which was nearly about $100 million US, and they refuse to help Thailand at all until they actually go back to being a democratic country.
Yeah,
so they're not happy either. They've been trying to get in contact with the head of this military and trying to talk him down, I guess, trying to get this thing over with, because this was just supposed to be a temporary get things under control thing and then hand it back to the government, but doesn't look like that's gonna happen.
Yeah, it doesn't seem so as well. But at the same time, I think I would say the military's allegiance is towards the monarchy. Would that be so? Because the monarchy headed by the king called Bhumipol Adulyadej commands great respect among the many Thais, including I think the military themselves.
Well, I think I'm not sure if because we know that there are the royalists and then there are also the people who support the Shinawatra regime, but I also read that the people are actually not happy with the military, and they've been having protests and trying to get the military out, and they want back their civilian government. But at the same time, I don't understand how is it that they are actually receiving support from the king.
It's interesting that the blessing of the king has traditionally been a key step in legitimizing the recurring military takeover that has taken place in Thailand, which has now seen 19 actual or attempted coups since 1932. So the blessing of the king is one of the key component I see in terms of the military coup. At that sense, just one of the news that I read yesterday about one of the crown princess. So she sort of have a tape recorded about her being topless, on a birthday. So it's, and the military totally how to say, banned that site, that website. I think the website is called Daily Mail. It's just to show that how much the military wants to gain the support and the blessing of the monarchy.
Yeah, and also they have actually been posing a lot of restrictions, like what you said. They've been banning a lot of online sites, and they're also closely monitoring the social media, especially Facebook. And they said that they'll arrest anybody who try to arrange a meeting or create a group in protest to the current military.
I think that's one of the reasons why some quarters of the society in Thailand do not agree with the military, because, I mean, yes, you are there to avoid, to sort of halt the crisis, the political crisis there, but also at the same time, it seems like they are also restricting the freedom of expression, or freedom to mobilize themselves in Thailand. So this is something that I think eventually, I don't think the Thai people would be happy about it.
Yeah, and it's probably going to be way more difficult for them to achieve that democratic country that they've been wanting for a very long time.
Yeah. So just talking about Thailand, let's just move on and talk about Philippines. So the Philippine president urges more interactions among regional business leaders. Seems like the Philippine president Benigno Aquino is interested to call for more active interaction among business leaders, urging both political leaders and business captains to prioritize for the betterment of the people.
And he also said that our operations function more smoothly when we are given the chance to interact and work with each other, to exchange best practices and even coordinate efforts towards achieving inclusive and sustainable prosperity and progress. And Aquino made the call yesterday when he received the ASEAN Business Club delegation of business leaders at Malacanang Palace in Manila, which is the official residence of the Philippines president. And in the ABC said this in a statement following its country visit to the Philippines.
Well, what I see is Philippines definitely need more business investment there. So calling for interaction among regional business leaders to come together is definitely a very positive move. What I see is I was watching a YouTube video about ASEAN in one of the in a social media, and one of the interesting point that I see is, even though Southeast Asia is one of the largest market in the world, but at the same time, investment among regional business leaders in Southeast Asia is at a very minimum. Like even in Malaysia, for example, one of our top trade partners are non-ASEAN countries. They are from China, from the US, from Japan and all that, but not any of the ASEAN countries. So I think it's important, at least for now, to move on for all the Southeast Asian countries to sort of strengthen their business networking.
I think it should be like one of those look east policy thing.
Look Southeast Asian policy.
Something like that. Yeah, focus more on the regional countries rather than, going to the West. I guess we do need certain things from the West, but
I mean, the market is huge here.
Exactly, especially with Indonesia, which is growing very widely. It's one of the biggest and strongest markets now in Southeast Asia. So with Philippines also coming up and looking for more regional business leaders, I think this could be a good opportunity for all the countries to work together.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, looking at the number of consumers and the number of resources here is definitely a place for business leaders to invest. But at the same time, talking about business or economic policy, it should also be a balanced and sustainable one. I don't think that I don't think that governments in each country should focus too much on growth that they forget about the environment and how to be sustainable, and also addressing and tackling issues on inequality, because as far as I see right now, the gap of inequality is rising quite rapidly as the rich are getting richer and the poor still maintain their status quo.
Right, and the gap between the rich and the poor, it keeps getting bigger instead of trying to bridge the gap.
Yeah, and this is something that I think is a two-way thing the government to address. Besides economic growth, the government of Southeast Asian countries definitely should address on the importance of providing a more stronger social policy.
So let's move on to Vietnam now. It seems that the US is finally making a friend of Vietnam.
Yeah, so Washington's warm approach with Hanoi is a reflection of the American desire to contain an increasingly bold and hawkish China. I like when they use the word hawkish. Sounds very Republican in the United States. And some experts say that relations have improved to the point where a lifting of the arms embargo on Vietnam is possible.
So it seems that Washington right now sees Vietnam as the most strategic thinking of all ASEAN countries, says Ernest Bauer, who is Southeast Asia expert at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Vietnam has stepped up its game in amazing ways over the last 5 years. It's incredible.
So the US still have a 30-year-old arms embargo in place against Vietnam, but perhaps not for a long time since the breakout between China and Vietnam. I guess the US has finally found an ally in Vietnam in a way.
Yeah, it seems that the US-Vietnam ties have also been steadily improving in the recent years, to the point that a lifting of the arms embargo is now conceivable, says James Hardy, who is the Asia-Pacific editor at IHS Jane's Defense Weekly.
What do you think out of this? It's
I think
I mean, I guess so. But if you are looking at the relationship between US and some of its enemies, it's like if you are an enemy with another person, but if the another person is also enemy of another person, and you happen to be enemy of that,
then you're like best friends with
again. So I guess there's no permanent friends. Or permanent enemies. There's only permanent interests.
It probably changes according to the current interests. What is your importance or your focus?
Yeah, and definitely at this point of the period, the permanent interest is both of them are feeling threatened against China.
I think we did predict this back then when we talked about the
Philippines.
Yeah, we did.
If
you remember that the US signing the treaty with Philippines, and they might do the same with Vietnam now that China was building the oil rig in the Vietnam waters, and I guess it is happening. China, US, and Vietnam are now getting closer, becoming close friends.
That's true. And I think with the China becoming more hawkish, and I really like the word hawkish, trying to exert its power in the Southeast Asian seas, I think in a way the US will gain a lot of friends in the Southeast Asia, just for strategic purposes. Like I said, permanent interests.
Right. And also, they used to be enemies a long time ago, but it's not anymore now.
So I guess even ideological differences will not make the US not befriending a country.
I think the next one we have to look out for is Thailand, maybe.
Oh yeah,
we
definitely.
don't know what's going to happen there, since, like we said earlier, the US has retracted its military aid for Thailand, and they want Thailand to return to democracy, but we don't know how that's gonna go for now. So maybe that's why they're shifting to Vietnam now, who is much more, I wouldn't say vulnerable, but maybe more susceptible to becoming their partner compared to.
It's also because of the history between Vietnam and China, because unlike other Southeast Asian countries, Vietnam has a very, I would say, unfriendly relationship with China in the past. So it is quite natural for them to not being too friendly to China.
Right.
Compared to other Southeast Asian countries, they see China as more of a balance of power, but Vietnam see China as a, you have been. We historically we have not been having a good relationship with you, so we don't mind being friends with the US just to gain a better ally.
Just to show you that we also have a superpower behind us.
Yeah.
So you better watch out.
This is what I see.
So let's move on to Singapore.
Yeah. So Filipinos in Singapore drops the Independence Day celebration plans after abuse. This is not a good story.
Yeah.
In a sense. So organizers of a Philippines independence celebration has dropped plans to hold it as in a busy Singapore shopping district after an abusive campaign by online commentators opposed to the event's venue.
Yeah, it seems that the Philippines will be marking its 116th year of independence on June 12th, and a group of Filipino residents in the city-state had initially planned the commemoration event on June 8 for compatriots and Singaporeans at a shopping complex along the busy Orchard Road shopping belt. But they had to switch the location because they started getting all these abuse by through the social media, and they had to take the police's advice and go to a different venue to hold their celebrations.
It's quite sad for Filipinos in Singapore, because to me, you should be able to celebrate your Independence Day wherever you are. You shouldn't be restricted to only in your own country, because to me, being a Malaysian, if I'm somewhere in other parts of the world, if come the celebration of Malaysia Day or our Independence Day, I would definitely be celebrating it, even though I'm not in Malaysia. And I think for them not to have the right to celebrate their Independence Day is quite sad and quite regretful to me towards Singaporeans.
It seems that these online commentators, who are mostly anonymous on local website and Facebook pages, and they have heaped racial abuse and attacked the choice of venue by the organizers. So actually, like you mentioned earlier, to think about it, what could really be the negative impact of celebrating their Independence Day? How would it hurt the Singaporeans?
What I see this is not so much about the Filipinos that Singaporeans are against. I think if you really look at Singapore's society and politics, they have been facing quite a huge gap of inequality and also hardship, in a way that the majority of Singaporeans are feeling the pinch. They feel that the foreigners are taking over their jobs. They are earning more than them. They have better opportunities than them. In fact, the Singaporeans themselves feel threatened by Filipinos, partly because Filipinos in Singapore, they can speak better English.
Right.
They probably have better opportunities as well. And a lot of them have migrated to Singapore just to find a job. So in that sense, they feel invaded, I think. And also, the funny thing is, they only feel this towards certain racial groups, not towards Westerners or whites. And I feel that it's also partly because of them being xenophobic.
Yeah, that's true, because we know that there are a lot of Western citizens there as well, but they don't seem to have a problem with that. It's mostly the Malaysians, the Filipinos, the Indonesians and all.
In fact, I would say they even aspire to be part of the Westerners, as in their lifestyle and culture.
That's very
or
true.
even married one to one of them. So I feel that if I want to sum it in one word, it's definitely xenophobic. Yeah.
Because we know that a lot of them actually, like maybe these Malaysians, Filipinos, and all go to Singapore, but the Singaporeans themselves don't really want to stay in their country as soon as they are done with high school or they're done with their diploma. They just want to move to US, usually NYU. It seems to be quite popular among Singaporean students. They just want to go to England or New York and continue their studies. So you can't really blame them if these other people are coming in to fill that gap. What do you think about that?
I think what I see in here is they don't have in a way what I see is the Singaporean people, they don't have the Singaporean people, they don't really have the opportunity to voice out, their expression, and by lashing out against other racial groups, it's a way to express their freedom of expression. I mean, this is what I see it. And alternatively, this is a way I think a lot of Singaporeans might feel. So in a way, they feel that they are exerting their freedom to, to express themselves by condoning other or placing abuse against other racial groups.
Yeah, I think that's probably all the time that we have for today. That was a pretty interesting session we had. So I think we'll be back in a bit to move on to our Blast from the Grassroots session.
Yep. Talk to you guys again.